So, even though I'm a college student who has to deal with real expenses like tuition, housing, food, therapy, I still decide to spend my leftover earnings on Godzilla collectibles. However, I go out of state for college, so the rest of my collection is back home. So, I just ship everything there until I can come back and unbox them, which leads to a lot of this. So, in today's video, we are going to be unboxing months of piled up packages before my room becomes one big reference to the movie 7.
What's in the box?
Let's start with a package from Super 7. It's the ultimate Shogun Godzilla. I made a video a few years ago about how excited I was for their reaction figure, and this is basically the same figure but better. The fist launches, the fire tongue can extend and hold in place, the color is great, and it's just so faithful to the original Shogun Godzilla. Now I want Super 7 to release a third Shogun figure that is a full-scale replica of the Mattel one, so I can finally have that figure in my collection. Until then, this figure is going to be prominently displayed in my vintage Godzilla display case, next to his mini counterparts. I also bought a glow-in-the-dark variation, but I'm gonna keep this one in its package for now. Next up, we're gonna open a package from eBay. It's the Bandai Godzilla Collection 8-inch Biollante. This is definitely the largest Bandai figure in my collection, and when I saw it at a good price, I knew I had to have it. Overall, Biollante has a great sculpt, it's a super vintage looking figure, and it definitely stands out on my display shelf. I can't believe I actually own this figure is so awesome. Almost as awesome as this package from HobbyLink Japan. It's the X Plus Diff-O-Real Godzilla 2004. I can probably make a whole video about my obsession with this line of figures, but they are all adorable and super detailed, and this figure is no exception. It's just a tiny Godzilla Final Wars figure with movie-accurate eyes. This one is definitely going alongside with the rest of his Diff-O-Real brothers. Speaking of X Plus figures, this next package from the Big Bad Toy Store is definitely a milestone for me because it's the first large-scale X Plus figure in my collection. Here is the Godzilla vs. Mothra Toho Daikaiju series Godzilla. Even though this figure is a bit smaller than I expected, the detail is still fantastic. The sculpt is great since it resembles the poster from the Heisei Godzilla vs. Mothra film, and overall, this figure is a welcome addition to my collection and will be prominently displayed at the top of my shelf with all of my other large-scale Godzilla figures. Last, but definitely not least, we have a package imported straight from Japan, specifically with items I purchased from the Godzilla store, and this was the box I was the most excited to open. First, we have the Godzilla Store exclusive Bandai Godzilla and Mechagodzilla, which are both from the film Terror of Mechagodzilla. I've had the Bandai Creations Mechagodzilla on my display shelf for a long time, and it's very nice to upgrade him with this figure, since I prefer the sculpt of the new one so much more, especially since it's the second version of Mechagodzilla from Terror of Mechagodzilla. I also love the Godzilla mold here, especially since it depicts one of my favorite suits, especially with the rounded dorsal plates and angry expression. But the final item of this package is really the figure I was looking forward to, because it's Titanosaurus. I made an even older video complaining about how much this figure goes for nowadays, but thanks to this exclusive Godzilla Store release, I finally have this figure in my collection. To be a bit nitpicky, I'm not a huge fan of the light coloring of his fins, but it really doesn't matter because at the end of the day, he's finally mine. Suck it, eBay listings.